Yo, what's going on, guys? Eagle Talks Football, and I'm back again with another video. Today's video is, of course, the much-awaited title decider match preview with, of course, Nobbins, my guy Gunnar Souls, and Daps will be joining us from Never Foul any moment now when they're done with their stream. He's going to be jumping over. Oh, my God. Silence is always messing me up whenever I'm speaking. Okay, but yeah, so we're going to be getting into the game. We're going to be breaking down what we think about the Man City Arsenal matchup. We're going to be talking about the title race, and we're just going to get into how we got to this point. And if you don't know, it's a must-win game for Arsenal, and of course, it's a must-win game for Manchester City in what is a mouth-watering matchup on Wednesday, where the two teams are going to be facing off in a title decider. This is coming off the back of Arsenal dropping points after game after game after game. When you thought they would take the lead and they're ahead of City going into that matchup, we dropped points versus Southampton, we dropped points versus Liverpool, we dropped points versus West Ham, and Manchester City are currently on a 15-game unbeaten streak or 14-game unbeaten streak. Crazy. And in the FA Cup, they just won 3-0, making it the first side to ever go to a FA Cup final without conceding a goal throughout the whole campaign so far. This Manchester City side is going for glory. They're going for a treble. They're trying to win the league. They're trying to win the FA Cup. They're trying to win the Champions League, where this Arsenal team is trying to win their first league title in almost 20 years. It's a crazy, crazy battle. Let's see what happens at the Etihad. People in the chat, let me know what you guys are thinking. If you're watching on the playback or if you're watching live, make sure you hit that goddamn like button right now. And yeah, we're going to get into it. How you doing, Souls? Haven't spoken to you in a while. You're on mute.
Oh, yeah. See, blunders when you first come back. Yeah, no, Ramadan's over, so I should be a bit more regularly back on. But alhamdulillah, I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good. And we got Nobbins in the house. Nobbins, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And thank you for having me on your channel. Very kind for the invite.
No, thank you very much, man. And of course, I know you have your own channel, so I'm going to make sure I do put that in the description right now. And of course, I see you doing a lot of, what's the team again? Is it Middlesbrough or that you do the
Football Manager?
The Football Manager streams, yeah.
Yeah. The 5-year plan, getting Middlesbrough from the Championship to Premier League and Champions League glory. We're so close. Just missed out on the title in our 5th season, so we're going to take it to a 6th season because I want a shot at that Champions League with my boys, Middlesbrough. But yeah.
There you go. And big up all the people in the chat. I see you guys. People's talking about Dabs talking shit. We got Mustafa in the chat. We got cool ballers in the chat. We got crazy in the chat. We got Chelsea fans even in the chat. Everyone's getting ready. To me, Ahmed in that house. Big up to me. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Because I feel like the only place where we can start is Arsenal's early season form and then work our way into City's current form. Because, Nobbins, when you've seen Arsenal's current early season form, did you really think we would get away from you and the season was ever done? Or were you ever worried that you've already lost the title? Because it seemed like we were running away with it. It kind of reminds me of that year Liverpool were running away with it at the beginning. It seemed like everything was going our way. We were constantly winning games. And you guys were dropping points against teams that I usually wouldn't see you drop points against, especially at home, like Brentford. But yeah, talk to me about that, man. Early season Arsenal form. What did you think when you seen that?
Yeah, so initially I was thinking, it's just a flash in the pan. They'll drop off around, like sort of like match week 10. That it'll be regular Arsenal will be back and it'll be fine. And City, I was still thinking Liverpool at that time would also come back. But then it was that sort of that joke of how did the elephant? There's an elephant on like a tree. No one knows how it got there, but it's going to come crashing down at some point. And I kept telling myself that. I was like, and Arsenal are the elephant, and they're going to. And okay, this week they'll mess up. Okay, they'll win again. This week they'll mess up, and just kept going on and on and on. And as you say, whilst Arsenal were doing that, City were struggling, relative to how we normally see them perform. So when it got to just after the World Cup, that was when City lost at home against Brentford and then drew at home against Everton. That was when I was first seriously, and I think Arsenal opened up like an 8-point lead or 10, something like that. That was when I was first like, right, okay, actually, I'm starting to get doubts. And then Arsenal kept going from strength to strength. And then at the halfway point, they had 50 points, half a century. So if they carried on the second half of the season, that would have been a Centurion year. So genuinely terrifying. And that coincided with City struggling, as I say, and then there was the whole debate of has Haaland made Man City worse, etc., etc. So the question mark for me was always going to be, how will Arsenal cope with the first bump that will inevitably come for them? And that came in the form of, I think it was Everton away, when when Arsenal lost against new manager bounce Everton. And then the question was going to be, how will they will they bounce back immediately or what? Can't remember the exact run of games, but I think that was also the run where you drew at home against Brentford and lost against City, I think. And maybe got knocked out of a cup as well. I'm not 100%. And then there were the tricky games against Villa, and there was another one where you just came back into it. I can't remember the one.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, that's the one. Yeah, thank you, Souls. Yeah, and so then for me, that was the right. They've bounced back now, and they're probably going to go on and win it. But I don't know if they ever really recovered from that initial bounce. To be fair, Arsenal then did have a couple of really good results, but then that's led into these 3 recent results. So I don't really know what to make of Arsenal. I don't know if they've actually fully recovered from that bounce a few months, that blip a few months ago. I'm not sure. I think the performances against Villa and Bournemouth in isolation, impressive, but in a wider context, it was probably happening too early in the season for you to be conceding that many goals and then getting away with it. And we've seen you concede 2 against Liverpool, West Ham, and 3 against Southampton. If you're conceding 2 and 3 goals at a time, it's almost impossible to consistently win. So it's a massive shift from start to now. And my emotions have been swinging the whole way. It's been City are going to win easily. Oh no, Arsenal are going to win. But now somehow City are back in it. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster for me.
Yeah, and obviously we now, Souls, how we were throughout this whole situation. But now that City looks like they're taking advantage of their late season form and their squad depth is starting to show as we go later and later in the season, as we are starting to falter with our injuries. What do you think about City's current form, and how scary do you think this Manchester City team is going away to their ground?
Do you know what? This is what champions are made of. As much as people, want to sit here and be scared, as a fan base, we owe it to the club that we've given so much hope to, so much support to throughout the season. A lot of us put our necks on the line and said we're going to win the league, whether it was early, whether we were getting carried away, whether we weren't. At the end of the day, if you want to be champions, it comes from the fans, it comes from the players. If one facet of any of that gives up hope, then it's over. Do you think Man City are coming into this game tomorrow thinking, crap, we're going to get done over by Arsenal? Or is their entire fan base coming into it thinking, we're going to roll them over and we're going to show, maybe not roll them over, but we're going to show them why we're the current champions? And that's the mentality we need to go in with. We can't be showing that we're scared of Man City, especially if we want to be champions. We can't be looking at any team in the Premier League, regardless of how the odds maybe are stacked against us, regardless of how bad our form has been. We need to be going into that Etihad game thinking and believing we can be champions. What I've seen in the last 3 games is fear, is cowardness. And I've seen a bit of maybe complacency setting in as well. Maybe they've believed their hype. Maybe they've overconfident. Because for me, when I watched that West Ham game, they were 2-0 up and showboating. That's the worst time you can showboat. It was too early in the game. The scoreline did not reflect. If you're 5-0 up, I get it. You start doing the flicks and tricks and start passing it around and playing with your opponents. I get it. But when you're 2-0 up, it's one of the worst scorelines, especially when it's only 20 minutes, 30 minutes into a game. That's the worst time to do it. There's still an armful of opportunities for the team to come back. And I do think they believed, in some facets, they believed their hype. In some facets, fear has kicked in. I think Anfield was more fear and a psychological thing where they couldn't get over the hump. They couldn't believe the situation they found themselves in. And that's why Anfield turned it over. If we had just continued playing the way we were and believed in ourselves, not in an overconfident way, we would have actually won all 3 of those games. Now we've got to turn it around. Now it's, you know what it is? It's not the fans showing support. We have to get behind the team regardless. But it's over to the players to show us why we've backed them. It's over to them to show us why we believe they're going to be champions. And that's what Etihad's going to be. I'm not going into this game with, look, nerves and fear. Yeah, there's always going to be that when you play any of the top 6, regardless. Even if we played Spurs right now, there would still be a bit of nerves. But
let me just bring Daps in, bro. Let me just bring Daps in quick as you're speaking. Big up Daps in the house. Hope you're doing well.
Me below me.
What? That's a
Me
picture of you,
me.
yeah.
Where the hell did you get that one from?
Bro, you gave me that picture a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, that's
hold on.
That's a picture with you and Soups.
Igal. You just left the stream.
Yeah.
And the last thing you claimed was what?
We'll see.
Yeah, you tried to act cocky that you think you're going to get something in it.
Listen, we're going to talk about it right now because I thought we were going to speak about it a lot earlier in the stream. My apologies that I had to leave. But
that's fine. We can't make everything about us and you. There's other teams in it.
I told you, bro. I had a time constraint, so unfortunately, I had to leave. But let's get straight into the stream. So, Souls was just talking about how our early season form, and now, Nobbins was talking about our early season form and how he viewed it from a City fan perspective, looking at the Arsenal's form throughout the season and how he's like, one point he thought they were going to win it, City were going to win it, and it was just a blip that Arsenal were doing good. Then he's like, damn. And then now we moved over to Souls, and Souls was just breaking down what he thought about Arsenal's most recent points dropped and how good City have been. But yeah, you're going to say something, Souls, before we finish up and go to...
Yeah, I was going to say, look, this is the time for them to show us as a fan base why we've believed in them. I'm not going into that game. Yes, there's fear, there's confidence, there's mixed feelings. There's going to be all
There's no confidence. There's no confidence.
Oh, no, I'm confident. I don't care.
You're not. You're trying your best to come across confident.
All right, you know my feelings better than I do. That's fair enough.
Sals, I've seen you when you were confident, yeah, because you wouldn't stop talking and telling me, and like I will remember that day when I left the City ground after we dropped points to Brentford, and before I'd even got out of the ground, I'm getting messages in the Arsenal group chat off of all you, man. I won't forget that, bro. That's confident Arsenal, yeah. I haven't really heard too much from you recently.
That's because of Ramadan. I've been busy. And Eid and everything. So
that's a fair point. I will accept that. We're back and all of that.
I've not even been on Egal streams. I've not been like.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. So you're confident, are you?
No. All right. So confidence, yes, in a sense of not like we're going to come and definitely win, but I'm confident in a sense of I believe if any team in the Premier League can do and come back from a setback, it's Arsenal and Man City. Right now, and even if you look at it last season,
how dare you put yourself alongside us for coming back from? Wow.
Okay, I'll give you evidence of this. Then, even when you look at it last season, when we've gone on a trot of 3 losses or 3 draws or 3 bad performances, we've come back. We've shown a consistent form of every time there's been a setback, we have come back and we've gone on to win games and we've gone on to show a bit of form.
Games. I thought you meant about
and Daps. To be fair, whenever we drop points or whenever something bad happens to us, it happens to us in threes. We dropped points 3 successive times last season, leading up to the top 4. We dropped points 3 successive times. It's just a weird number. Maybe it's a thing, but like things tend to change. After the 3rd time, it never happens a 4th.
It will be. It will be.
Hey, we've dropped points 3 times this season.
Because you've drawn 3, so your next one's going to be a loss. So,
so what do you think of 3 loss streak?
Daps, I'll tell you this: the energy I've seen from Daps today is the same energy I've seen from at the beginning of the season when they dropped points versus Brentford. That's back when he was still going on.
At the season.
At the beginning of the season, when you dropped points against Brentford, we were still doing vibes from
October. I think it was October.
We were still doing vibes from the 6 back then.
Yeah.
And that's I've never seen you like this. You were so like everyone. None of you guys can talk shit to me. We're still winning this goddamn league, even though we dropped points.
There we go then.
And that was back then. So you've come out of your shell this season. I've never seen you more confident about your team.
Oh, do you know what? But Gal, I've said this, yeah. Like last season, I was and for the previous 6 Premier Leagues we've won, I have been like that. I've been. You know what? Let's just wait till the end of the season. And I've had people tell me you should have more chest for your team, and I've been like, no, I'll do it. This is the way we are, because we struggle to believe, like, because we're scarred. Like we've been scarred. Yeah, we've been like, bro, you know what we've been through. We've been to the 3rd tier of English football, right? So we've been scarred, and that is why. Until this season, and I had people telling me they don't get why maybe at the end of last season, because I lost my dad at the end of last season as well, I wasn't even as chesty at the end of last season because I was more focused on that and I wasn't in the mood to be too chesty. But then in the summer, we go and buy Haaland and we get Alvarez, right? And those two players, and I'm thinking, do you know what? Yeah, and I have the whole world telling us you are going to walk the Premier League, yeah? So I actually walked into this season for the first time with more chest. And now I have everyone telling me, oh, I used to prefer the humble Daps. Well, you know what? You lot told me not to be humble. And we went and bought a robot. So I thought, you know what? This season, I'm not. And you know what? That's taken me to, I've had to hold it this season. Listen, when we lost to Tottenham, right? I was off work. I didn't do streams because the next day we got hit with all them 115 charges. This team, yeah, I've been chesty and I've doubted myself. Like when we lost to Tottenham, I was thinking, you know what? I'm just going to be normal me and be humble. But I kept saying the reason, like, because I'd say between August and January, I was saying, yeah, all right, we're not looking that good, but we all know City come good business end of the season. And then I'll admit, yeah, it got to late January, early February. Yeah, late January, early February, and most of February probably. And I was saying, you know what? I'm still saying City going to win the league. But whereas before it was, we're easily going to win the league, I'm now putting it on the same agenda. And that agenda is City come good at the right time. And everyone's saying they don't look the same. They don't look the same. And I remember when we'd won 3 games on the bounce, yeah? And I said, look, yeah, everyone always does this. They compare Manchester City from August to February with the previous season's Manchester City from March to May. And it's not fair to do that because they're not comparable. They're different monsters, right? And when we're 3 games in, everyone's going, but you're not looking the same. I said, we're 3 games in. Tell me that again in 10 games' time when we're now on, what are we on, Nobbins? You'll probably remember this. We're on how many games unbeaten now?
Oh, it's
15.
like 15 or something like that. Yeah,
there we go. So ultimately, the same thing that we do every single season, we now are doing. It's just people will go. And now everyone's saying City are invincible and all of that, yeah? Let's not get cocky. Listen, again, is it getting cocky?
It's confidence. It's confidence.
Is it getting cocky thinking that you are going to beat a team that you have beaten 14 out of the last 15 times, right? The one time you did win was in the FA Cup. We've beat you twice this season. Both times, may I add, that you thought you were going to beat us, right? We've gone and beat you, yeah? Then you've gone and dropped points in your last 3 games, right, at the business end of the season. If you want to call me cocky, no problem. I am telling you right now, City's whole fan base, yeah, are walking with a swagger that I have never, ever seen this club walk with, right? We're more combined than ever. We're pulling in the same direction and we all believe. And if it's cocky, no problem.
It's not cocky, it's confidence. But let me just say something. You know, when everyone keeps talking about the last couple of times we played each other, I hear that and I respect the fact that we have this curse or whatever it is going to the Etihad, and we're going to have to break that curse. But is it a curse or is it just that we show up to the Etihad with terrible teams? Now, let me just show you guys. This is a segment that we usually reminisce and look at the wins and the losses. But you know what? There's not too many wins against Man City. So we're going to just look at what we have on the board just to show you guys. So these are the results that we've had recently. You look at that, FA Cup, 1-0 win this season at home. This one hurt. Losing at home to you guys, because that made it so much harder to win this, try to compete and win this league. Just look back at last year, the team that we had when we played you at our ground. Similar result, close game, individual errors. The team that we went to you guys with that we lost 5-0, this was pre-Ramsdale, pre-Odegaard. These teams were terrible. Like, it's not comparable, the team that you're going to be facing this season.
So just focus on the 2 this season, then no problem.
Okay, but I just want to make a point. I just want to look at something quickly. The last time Arsenal beat Manchester City at their ground,
FA Cup.
when was it?
Oh, Argaff.
It was 2015.
I was there. Santi
It was
Cazorla
2-0.
masterclass.
2015, 2-0. This was the last time an Arsenal team beat you guys. And let's be fair, this was not one of the best City teams either.
Navas.
You know what I mean?
Demichelis at the back.
Fernando's such a dusty midfielder, I swear.
It just
Milner
shows
on the left. Wow.
you guys have one player left from this squad in your team.
Who?
It was 8 years ago, I think.
You had Frank Lampard in that team. Damn.
City legend.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Wait, who have we got left? Who's left there?
We had Mikel Arteta on the bench, I think, that
No,
game.
who's left at City from back then?
I don't think anyone's
one.
left.
No
Not one.
No.
Not one.
Mad.
Not one
Mad.
player. Milner's still playing for Liverpool. But for Arsenal,
He will
Look
be
at
in 3
this.
years' time. What do you mean?
the only person left in this whole team is Per Mertesacker, and he's in the academy as director.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it just goes to show you how much our team transformed. I looked at Liverpool's team from 2015-16 that we played. They still had some players that are currently in their squad. It just goes to show you how much overhaul there is in your team. And then if we look at your team, the last time we played you in the FA Cup where we won, where was that? FA Cup. This is
It was Arteta's first season, wasn't it?
Arteta's first season. This is pretty much very similar still. Your team's very similar still. Garcia obviously is not there. Mendy's not there no more.
Garcia.
Well, that whole back four don't play.
Laporte doesn't play?
Laporte will this week, only because Ake's injured.
He's going to play left back.
I think so, yeah.
He's going to have to, yeah. Just like how we did against Salah in 18-19. Hopefully we'll pocket.
But then look at the Arsenal team. The only one player in this team is still going to play.
Xhaka.
That's it. And
Tierney?
Xhaka, we don't even know about his fitness, but
Do you
he's
think
going to
Tierney
be
might
available.
start?
What?
Do you think Tierney might start?
No. God, no.
No.
No, not in a million years.
Why do you say God no?
No, because in a game where we need to control possession, Kieran Tierney at left back would actually hinder us.
Uh-huh. So how do you think you're going to line up? Do you think you're going to play? Do you think you're going to play Holding and Gabriel?
Just before we do that, let me just go to the comments quickly. People talking about who's Fernandinho. What?
Fernando. So Fernando was he joined us. Did he join us the season before Fernandinho or the same season?
He joined the season after, so he never won a title under us. So he
DM?
joined in 15. Yeah, he was a defense midfielder. He was Fernando was all right. He was just a worse Fernandinho. He was not as good as Nigel de Jong, but slightly better than Javi Garcia. That's how I describe him.
Spot on.
Yeah.
And looked old.
Yeah, and was very slow.
Yeah. He was there. He was Pellegrini times.
I think we signed him in like 2015-ish, around there.
Yeah.
You know what? Before we go into the team that we're gonna play, we're just gonna look at the injuries quickly. Because who do we have out, guys? Who do you guys have out? Just Ake, right? And reports says Ake might even play.
It's just Ake, and I don't think there's even if he is fit, there's been no evidence he's been in training, so there's no chance he's playing.
You know what? If he's fit, then we've got to thank our lucky stars, because it's mad. Hold tight, Callum. Callum messaged me. He's a City fan. He messaged me at half-time at the Bayern game and said, I don't know how Ake has not pulled his hamstring in this half, the way Kingsley Coleman had him running, right? And then like 15 minutes into the second half, he pulls up. If he is not injured, then that's a good sign. We don't need to rush him back though. We need to let him, let that hamstring heal and not rush him back, because it would be bigger to lose him for the rest of the season than to risk playing Laporte. Because let's be real, Laporte is a very, very good defender. Yeah, he isn't as quick as Ake, but for all of Saka's qualities, Saka is not rapid. Like, I'm not saying he's slow, but it's not like Saka is Kingsley Coleman. So we need someone with a football brain. If you've got a football brain, that's more important against Saka. Laporte has that. I mean, we miss Ake, but I'd rather start Laporte against Arsenal and now Ake can come back for. I wouldn't even say Fulham away.
You want to know something? As an Arsenal fan, I don't look at you guys missing Ake as an actual thing that I say, oh wow, he's
our best player this season, bro.
He might be, but in my opinion, I'm not really looking at Ake and saying, wow, that's such a big miss for them. I'm looking at it as you guys have such good squad depth. You're gonna find a solution where you're looking at us and you're saying Saliba's out. You're licking your lips. Let's be real.
Do you know what? Right. So I hear what you're saying, but Ake has been very important to us this season. But I do agree with you. At the moment, I think the one thing in these last 3 games is I think you've missed composure. When you've been, especially in the first 2, when you were 2-0 up in both of them, even when you were 2-1 up, I think sometimes you need those players like Saliba that will just calm the game down. If he gets the ball, he'll just pick out the right. And all you need in those moments is 4 or 5 passes, and it slows the tempo of the game down and it takes all the pressure off. Instead, you got Holding either kicking it out and inviting pressure back on you, or heading it back to the keeper and putting pressure on him. So I do think, I think Saliba's a massive, massive miss. I think I don't know, Partey's form, maybe that's because Partey and Saliba together look good. And if you don't get one of them, then it's a bit like Stones and Ruben. Stones and Ruben together, like they just look good together. They make each other look good.
You know what? Before we go any further, everyone in the comment section, we got over 89 of you guys in the chat. Hit that goddamn like button right now. And just I know you hate combined 11s, but I'm going to show you guys mine. Maybe you guys have something different. But just to show you what our
based
team
on the
is
whole
gonna
season, Let's be fair.
This is based on this season, and honestly, it's the most balanced I've ever been on a combined 11. I'm not being delusional at all. Literally. So you can, but this is the team that I think we were going to play with. And Gunnar Souls, let me know what you think. This is the Arsenal team that I think we should go with. I have
combined 11.
No, this is my
predicted.
Yeah, this is my predicted Arsenal 11.
All right.
I was going to say that better not be your.
I know. Yeah, I was like, wait. I thought you said combined.
I'm not
11.
being biased, guys. But I thought 100% to my combined 11.
I just looked up and saw Jorginho.
Combined 11. This
No,
is
we know,
the predicted Arsenal 11. Relax.
Okay.
Oh, you think you'll play Partey at right back?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
That is a recipe for disaster. Jack Grealish is going to have a field day.
Right. I would rather have Jack Grealish going up against Partey and Ben White in center half than Holding and Ben White. Because
what you've just said there, bro, you just said Jack Grealish going up against White and Partey. Well, if it's taken White and Partey on Jack Grealish, then Gabriel's going to have his hands full with Haaland and whoever's playing wide right and the runners behind him. See,
no, but you get what I mean, though. I would rather have Holding out of the team because I feel like Jorginho in the midfield would help us have more control. Yeah. And Partey's been so poor anyways that he's been a hindrance in the midfield, let alone in defense.
You know what? This is going to sound crazy. I don't even think Holding would be an issue in this game. Because the one thing, look, he's crap at everything. Don't get it twisted. But he is a physical defender. And that's what you kind of need against Haaland. You need to be able to take a bit of roughness. And that's what he can do. I'm not going to say he's going to stop Haaland before people think I'm misconstrue what I'm saying. But I'll be honest with you. I'd rather Holding be there and Ben White at right back and just play the back line as it is. And do you know what I would do personally? Put Jorginho with Partey. And
people saying that team would get battered.
How many times has Ben White played at centre half this season for Arsenal?
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to be moving your right back to centre half in your trickiest game of the season, to be fair.
Okay, so let's now look at the actual City combined 11 and the Arsenal combined 11. That's probably the most balanced and the most predicted.
What formation is it? Firstly,
it actually has you in a back three. It has you in a back three. This is what they have you doing. But you know what it is? They have Stones in the team also as a second.
Yeah, that's right. That's looking about right.
That's where he plays. He plays.
But you know what it is? I got to give it up to you guys and Pep and this whole putting 4 center halves in the team, because what it allows you guys to do is to fit all these attacking midfielders and attacking players and give them the freedom to not have to worry about too much defensive work, because you now have Akanji who's a natural center half, Stones who's a natural center half, Diaz who's a center half, Laporte who's a center half, or Ake who's a center half, either way. And having 4 center halves lets you push the rest of the team forward, higher up the pitch, and play with the higher defensive line, because you now have center naturals defenders who are able to defend under pressure. Where
I said at the start of the season that when Cancelo was there, right, that and when Pep was kind of pushing Cancelo up, and even when he ultimately did this. What he's doing now, he was doing with Rico Lewis, right? Rico Lewis was playing a very similar role to the role that John Stones is playing now. It's just John Stones is, how old is John Stones now? About 28?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Rico Lewis is 18 years old. So, like, Rico Lewis was doing a great job for a 17, just turned 18-year-old doing that role. But what Pep has done this season is, the minute you get Haaland, you've got to remember, for 2 years we've been playing with a false nine. And the idea with the false nine is when you are not on attack, you've got a player that can drop back into the midfield and you've got another body in midfield. And that is how we've been so dominant for the last 2 years. The minute we get Haaland, we've now got a player that, although actually he does want to drop back, like I've heard a lot in training, Pep tells him no, because when you drop back, you bring all of those defenders into the zones we want to play our football in. You stay up there and keep them up there, so we have this space to play football in. So what Pep has been doing the first 2/3 of this season is trying to find a way to still have that overload in midfield, right? Now, the difference is that, and we did do it last season with Cancelo pushing forward. The problem last season was that Cancelo, right, who, yes, is better in midfield than defensively, and Zinchenko, yes, better in midfield. Take the Real Madrid game as a perfect example. Walker got injured. Cancelo went to the right. Zinchenko came on the left. We now have two fullbacks that are actually better pushing up than defending. All of a sudden, we look uncomfortable. This season, we now have four centre-backs. We now have four centre-backs on the pitch. We have, usually with Ake, one that's competent in the middle of the pitch, but also pacey. And then with John Stones, someone that is very competent in the middle of the pitch. So they can do it. But when they need to drop back and be a solid back four that know how to defend. And this is why I've said these last few weeks, we're starting to look good defensively as probably the last time we looked this good was under Mancini. And that's the difference.
Let me just stop you there. Big up everyone in the comment section. We got 100 people in the chat. Guys, we're so close to 20K subscribers. Make sure you do subscribe and also hit that like button. We need to get this stream past at least 100 likes. I want to just say shout out to the OG here, Ori, because if you guys don't know, Ori was here and he was doing watch-alongs with me, City watch-alongs with me when I had like 100 subscribers. I don't even know if you were doing content.
He's a City fan.
Yeah, he's a City fan.
Absolutely.
Big up to him, all the way from India. My guy, Ori. Shout out to Ori, man. OG on the channel, man. But yeah, people smash that like button. Nobbins, I'm going to ask you, the team, do you think it's going to be very similar to this, or do you think there's going to be any changes?
Having a look. I think, yeah, there's obviously no Ake. Yeah, that's our best team. I think Pep's now decided. I think it's taken him a long time to figure it out. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what our best team was either. But this is our best team, minus Ake, because even though I think Laporte's better than Ake, Ake's better at performing this role.
Yeah.
This was this was the same team that we fielded against Bayern. Pep's obviously decided this is our strongest side. It gives us the best balance in the defence and the midfield. It gets the best out of Haaland as well. I like Bernardo over Mahrez on the right. It gives us a bit more control, and he's a very good dribbler, is Bernardo. So fantastic outlet there. And yeah, but you've even got Foden coming back from his appendix surgery, who's another potential option. You're probably in the wide positions. You think if we need a bit more penetration, yeah, for me that's the starting 11 for City, and yeah, we will build up in the 3-2-5. The only question mark will be out of possession. Will Akanji or Stones be the right back, because he's a mix and match. Sometimes it's been Stones at the right centre half. Sometimes it's been Akanji right centre half, and then vice versa at right back. But yeah, that's our strongest side, 100%.
Okay. Souls, this is for you and everyone in the comment section, and of course the City fans, because you guys know Jesus very well. Is this a game more suited for Jesus, or is this a game more suited for Trossard? Because in my opinion, I think this is a game more suited for Trossard. One, he's already scored against City this season. Two, I think with a half chance, I trust him to be more clinical than Jesus. And three, maybe the fact that Jesus had such a poor game the previous game might be still on his mind. And Trossard, ever since he's been in this team, we've won. We took him out of the team. We've had 3 draws. I'm just saying, I'm picking Trossard in this game, and he's in my 11. What are you saying? And I know Mikel Arteta is probably going to take Jesus because Trossard has a better impact off the bench. But I personally would play Trossard. What do you think?
Remember what I said before the show? I have wild dreams. Yeah, like Mikel Arteta said, I have wild dreams. Do you know what I would do? And this is my genuine starting 11 against them. I'd go Jorginho, Partey in a pivot. I'd play Jesus as a shadow striker, and I'd play Trossard up top. What I would want to do against a team like this is have Martinelli and Trossard interlinking with each other. I want them swapping wings. I want them confusing the centre-backs. I want them to be able to overload.
Where's Saka?
Saka's on the right wing.
So what's your lineup? You have
So,
four attackers.
4-2-3-1.
Oh, you changed the whole setup.
Yeah, we need, because right now, the thing is, look, Holding isn't going to get dropped. The only solution we have is we go into a double pivot and allow the midfield to help navigate what Holding's going to mitigate, like the deficiencies that Holding has. Go with the two. Jorginho will help control. Partey will help with the defensive work, and that's when you can bring your control into midfield. Get Jesus in there as well to be more of a shadow striker. Then you bring it in like that. That's how I would personally play this game.
So hold on. So let me be clear with you. You would play Jorginho and Partey. Yeah?
Yeah.
Then you play Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard up top.
That's what I would want to play.
So you
I'd
drop,
play a shadow striker.
hold on. Is Xhaka injured?
Xhaka's going to be back.
Ill. He's ill, but we don't know whether he's been training.
But you wouldn't start Xhaka.
He's going to be back. The reality
if
is
he's back, then obviously the lineup changes for me a little bit.
Xhaka's going to be available. I don't think Xhaka misses this game for anything. But Nobbins, you were going to say something about Jesus and Trossard.
Yeah, so when I liked Jesus at City, I thought he was a decent player, very good utility player. Not good enough to start for Pep City, sadly, but certainly one who can come off the bench, etc. But I feel like Arsenal fans this season are sort of, and I mean even to a wider extent, Chelsea fans with Sterling are sort of beginning to see what, even though these are good players, they're starting to sort of see the frustrations that come with these sorts of players. So Jesus, for example, is one of the worst this season in respect of underperforming on his expected goals, whereas City's new striker is the best at overperforming on their expected goals. And the number of chances that Jesus should be bagging is not, and the amount he is missing is not ideal in a title race. And that's why I'm thinking maybe it would be an idea to start Trossard instead, because in a game where Arsenal have to win, do you want to be starting a striker who every single season in England has underperformed on their XG? You got to score.
But Alvarez has scored.
His XG right now at Arsenal is 14. He's only scored 9.
Alvarez has scored
exactly. So he's underperformed.
The issue with Jesus is he isn't. Like Firmino, he isn't a striker. They're not goal-scoring strikers. You know what I would do? I would put Jesus in the Xhaka role, and I put Trossard as the striker.
I actually think that Jesus is best positioned on the wing. We played him on the wing last season, on the right, and for me,
that's kind of how we play Xhaka. Xhaka, even though his in-game position is midfield, he kind of does play more wide left.
There was something I said to you in the summer, right? I remember being on your show, and you asked me, "Will Jesus score a minimum of 15 goals this season for you?" And my answer was, "Why do you care? Your team's output will go up by having him play if you play him in the right position." And you were very much, but can he be that goal scorer? And I said, look, the only time we've seen him as that goal scorer was his first ever season at City, half the season, where he came in, played through the middle with confidence, and he fired, right? But the minute his confidence drops off, his overall game doesn't drop off, but his goal scoring does, right? And that has been him at City. He's been so important to us. The way I always used to speak about how I'd see him get rested before we play Liverpool, and I'd know he's playing, because when you need to press a team and run them into the ground, I am. When you have to really press a team high, that first 60 minutes, he will run his heart out. He will not stop. For me, he led our press. And I think that's something we've maybe missed a little bit at times this season. From the front, he led the press phenomenally on wide right. And he makes runs that drags defenders all over the place. And he creates space for other people. But I said to you, he's not going to be that goal scorer. He won't be. He isn't. That isn't him. He will never be that. And if that's what you lot want, just to care about goals, then he's not the one for you. But I stand by what I said. Your output this season, your number of goals scored this season has gone up by having him, because he does create havoc. And I get what you're saying, because when I look at, I can't remember which one of your last two games it was, but you brought Trossard on. And for me, Trossard and obviously Saka, but Trossard and Martinelli, getting them both in the team, it makes sense to me. And I actually said this before, probably both games we played you in, because when you're playing a team like Manchester City, the one thing you have to do with us is give us something to think about, right? Like, give us something to try and find a way, and it's very difficult right now, by the way, but try and find a way to allow Manchester City not to play the way we want to play. Because if you allow us to play the way we want to play, we will run riot. You have to give us something to think about where we're like, oh, the only problem is, we were just saying this, I think once you left the stream on Never a Foul Gout, is this season, and even more so in the last 15 games, it's like Pep has gone, do you know what? I'm fine not having all the possession. I'm fine not being the way we usually are, but we're going to win. Like Bayern, we've just looked these last 15 games. We've looked like Pep has found a way to play different to before, where there's games this season where we haven't had the most possession in the game, but we still won it. And that's the difference now, where although I still think you need to give City something to think about, this City team at the moment are happy to go, fine. Because when that happens, if you do have a bit more possession than us, guess what? Remember, we just spoke about how those centre-backs that could just drop back and play in a back four with Rodri. All of a sudden, we've got 4 centre-backs and Rodri, right? No more Cancelo and Zinni or Walker, who may be a bit not as good. We've got 4 solid centre-backs and Rodri that know how to defend.
Fair enough. I'm just gonna shift away from the lineups and tactics, and we're just gonna go on to the season. And kind of like, what do you guys think? Who's having a better season between these two players? Because I've seen a lot of people saying Martinelli's having a better season than Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish having a better season. So let me just give you guys my team, and I think this is as unbiased as I can be. Personally, before you go crazy and say why Stones not in the team, you can personally, if you want, you can replace Stones with Diaz, or let me know who you would rather have in the team.
Stones was injured for quite a while, so.
Yeah, but everyone's telling me Stones should be in the team over Diaz. So
no.
I made 2 teams, and either way, I don't mind. But I think
what's your view on that? Stones and Diaz.
I think Diaz should be in over Stones, if that's what we're talking about. I love Stones, but I think that since Diaz has come in, he's like basically transformed our defense. Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that Gabriel's in over Saliba. Me personally, I would have gone for Saliba. I think Gabriel's made a number of high-profile errors this season. I think of the penalty he gave away against Spurs. He made at least one mistake against us. Was it like the Southampton game where he had a bit of a mare?
Season against Spurs. It's fair.
Yeah, so I feel like he's made a lot of high-profile errors. I feel like your best centre-half's been Saliba, to be fair. I like how you put Rodri in over Partey. For me, that's a bit of a coin toss. I think that could be either or.
It's not even close.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not even close. Partey is in my bad books at this moment in time.
Okay. And me personally, again, I think that Jack Grealish is, alongside Haaland, has been our best attacking player. Yeah. I know that Grealish isn't putting up the numbers of Martinelli, but Grealish heavily goes under the radar unless you actually watched like the full 90 minutes, which is a shame because he's not a match of the day or highlights player. Like, you do have to watch the full 90 minutes to fully appreciate Jack Grealish. It's more even pre World Cup. I thought he was playing just as good post World Cup. The only difference is he's now added some goals and assists, and now everyone's taking notes. So me personally, I would have Grealish in, and I'd maybe let you have Partey, but again, coin toss, and Saliba over Gabriel. But it was basically the same as mine.
What about you, Dap?
It's mad because I'll be honest. Look, I get why every season, De Bruyne is going to be put in the team. It's this, but I'll be honest with you. If we're going on who's been better this season, then Jack Grealish has been better than I get. De Bruyne, I believe, is probably, as usual, leads in the assist chart. Mm-hmm. Grealish is having a better season than Kevin De Bruyne.
Definitely.
Right? People need to understand, right, that Jack Grealish, that Pep Guardiola does not stay loyal to players if they're performing badly. And anyone that thinks that he does, right, Aguero got dropped. Leroy Sané got dropped. He doesn't stick by plays. If a player doesn't do what the manager asks, and City, you have to do what the manager asks. That's the way the system works, yeah? Jack Grealish is one of the first names on every single team sheet from the start of this season. Even if you go and look at it, he's one of the players that very rarely gets given a rest, right? Very rarely gets given a rest, whereas De Bruyne will get a rest. Rodri's now been getting a rest and whatever. Grealish is just a consistent player, and that is because for Manchester City to work, we need Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, and here's the thing, I honestly believe I can't wait to see Jack Grealish drop a bit deeper and play in an 8 role, because
Same.
I think through the middle, Jack Grealish, and here's the thing, when we first bought Bernardo Silva, where did Bernardo Silva play? He played wide right, yeah? And it almost seems like this thing that we all know, Pep Guardiola, he wins games with the midfield. I think Pep feels that the places where games are won and lost is your Rodri, your Gundogan, your Kevin De Bruyne / Bernardo Silva now role. The way since he's got Grealish and played him wide right, I feel when Pep gets players, he thinks you can do the least damage out on the wing. That is where you would do the least damage. You give the ball away up there. There's a lot of pitch to cover, right? And look at Bernardo Silva, how he plays now, right? He plays a lot deeper now, picking up the ball and running. Right? And I think that's what he's going to do with Grealish. So I would have taken De Bruyne out and put Grealish there.
We're not shoehorning. That's the thing. The reason
you are with De Bruyne, though. You are with De Bruyne. You're doing it based on numbers.
The reason why I put Rodri, Odegaard, and De Bruyne is because what am I going to do? Am I going to put Gundogan? Am I going to put Xhaka over Kevin De Bruyne?
I mean, you could ask a lot of City fans that watch every single game if De Bruyne's had a better season than Gundogan and Grealish, and it would be a conversation. It would be a conversation. De Bruyne has not had. It's now the business end, but De Bruyne hasn't had an amazing season, bro.
Let me ask you some of the questions that people in the comments are asking. People are saying Ederson or Ramsdale. Would you say Ramsdale had a better season, Souls?
In my opinion, yeah. Just because he's been more of a match winner for Arsenal than I think Ederson's been for Man City. There's been a lot of crucial stuff. Even if you look at the Liverpool game as a recent game, as an example, last minute off the line, and he springboarded an attack that could have won us the game if Martinelli had just been a little bit better with his pass. When you look at certain games like Fulham,
You said could have, but it didn't. So I just had to do the Jamie Carragher and Keane.
Not his fault. I mean, if Martinelli had one of his normal games, he could have made that pass, and there would have been a different story to that game. But I mean, even prior to that, like the Salah deflected shot, he saved that. I think there's been more moments with Ramsdale this season helping us win a game or even get points than Ederson. That's the reason why I'd say I'd put, Ramsdale, Ederson overall, as in if you're looking overall in their careers, of course, is a better keeper. But if you're looking at isolation this season, I'd put Ramsdale there.
I agree.
I'd probably agree. I think the one thing that I've liked, I think Ederson, as a goalkeeper this season, hasn't had one of his best seasons. We all know that Ederson's vital to our system. We all know that. The one thing that I have liked is, I must admit, in the quarterfinals, home and away, and this is very important because there is an element of City fans who are obsessed with the Champions League and only seem to watch Ederson in the Champions League. And if City lose in the Champions League, it's Ederson's fault. So it was nice to see him have a good home and away leg against Bayern. But I'd agree. I also think, away from actually what Ramsdale does shot stopping wise, I also think that Ramsdale is vocal. And I think Ramsdale has helped your defence in that way this season. I think he's a leader. I think Ramsdale could be a captain for me in the future.
He definitely could. And you know what? Unfortunately, because we're kind of strapped on time, I just wanted to jump into the title decider now. I just want to let you know, I looked at the previous title deciders with other teams, and they've all been really close. You go back to 95, Newcastle Man United. It was a 1-0 Man United win. You go to 97-98, Arsenal won 1-0 away at Old Trafford I'm just looking at it right now. I think it was Overmars who scored that one to help us win that league title. Chelsea versus Man United, their title decider was only won by 1 goal margin. Again, it was a 2-1 victory for Chelsea. It seems like all of these are very close. And then you even take it to Man United, Chelsea in 2010. You take it to Man City, Man United in 2011, 2012. You guys won by 1-0. I don't know who scored that game, but you won 1-0, Man City.
Probably Company usually
Vinny.
is them ones.
I think it was Company.
Header from a corner,
It was
probably.
definitely.
Yeah. And then you go back to just last year, you guys drew in the title decider 2-2 and ended up helping you guys go and secure that victory to win the league. So if history repeats itself, it's going to be a close game and it's going to be a 1-goal margin either way. That's what history says. But what do you guys think is going to happen in this game?
I think Arsenal have to win the same way that Liverpool had to win last season. That's exactly why they won't win. City don't have to win. A draw is fine. I don't think City will play for a draw. I think City will internally be relatively happy with a draw because it then means we've got a slightly easier run in. Arsenal still have to go away to Newcastle. So I'm going for the same score against Liverpool actually as last season, and I'm going for 2-2.
2-2. Okay.
Here's the thing. I do agree with you. It seems mad me saying this because I honestly didn't think we were going to be where we are, right? And look, I'm trolling every single Arsenal fan. I am out here. I've said it, Gal. I'm like, this isn't against. I started this season off backing you, man. In the summer, I was so happy when you beat Chelsea 4-0, and I said, this is what Zinni and Jesus are doing for this team, yeah? You know what? You know my feelings on Arteta, but unfortunately, there are some Arsenal fans that aren't willing to listen to 100% of what I want to say. They'll ignore 95% of the positive stuff I say about Arsenal. Listen to me 5%. Like, for example, Igal, I remember you said that you lot were killers, right? And I said, whoa, calm down. You're not killers. You're just doing exactly what a team that is trying to win the league should do, right? And then the comments are coming at me. What? Why aren't we killers? And I said, you're not killers because killers is tell me when Arsenal are rolling teams over 5-6-0 like City do. That's killers. Arsenal are just doing what they have to do to win, which in your first title race for a long time is more than salute to you for that. But because I said you're not killers, then everyone will come for me saying you hate Arsenal and all the other stuff I've had, death threats, whatever from Arsenal fans, yeah. And then I've had them, bro. It's fine. It's funny. It's funny. But and then the back and forth with Robbie, the back and forth with everyone, the back and forth with you, man, and all of it with Arsenal fans, yeah. And then all the comparisons of Odegaard v De Bruyne and partying, and I'm just like, leave our players out of your mouth until the end of the season, please. So for those reasons, yes. My foot is not being removed from any Arsenal fan's neck, right? I am literally being shameless at the moment. I am. However, I never thought we would be here because I had enough faith where I was saying in your club, where I was saying everyone needs to calm down about Arsenal dropping points against West Ham, dropping points against Southampton. They blitz those teams because I actually respect Arsenal and think, you know what? You won 50 points halfway through the season, yeah? Salute to that because very few teams can ever do that, yeah? And so I am in shock saying a draw is okay, right? I'm in shock because I thought we were going to be going into this game having to beat you, yeah? Like the Liverpool draw, you know what? That wasn't bad. It's Liverpool, it's Anfield. I get it. For you being 2 up and where you were, you should have won it. But that wasn't. But the other two lads, they're not acceptable. And now I feel there is so much pressure on you, man, going into this game, on your players. I spoke about how you should have kicked us in the FA Cup, right? And beat us at the Etihad in the FA Cup when we weren't playing well. And what that would have done for your motivation going into the Emirates, right? Because you didn't do that. Then you didn't win at the Emirates. Then that was enough, the whole juggernaut Man City are. But then internally, to then go and draw 3 games, you've got that on top of it, where you're now having to go to the Etihad, the last place you ever want to go to, and you have to win. And I just think City at the moment, the way we're playing, we're almost like, I mean, when I say a draw is fine, I think a draw would be fine. But I think City will be going into this game not even caring that they're playing Arsenal, to be frank. Just thinking, do you know what? This is just another game in the Manchester City machine that we are on at the moment. Like, this is the thing. And we're confident enough that, look, we're thinking, because we've got Madrid in the second leg at Argaf, that we're going to go through to the final as well, that we are that confident at the moment. So I can't see anything but a City win. And I think it doesn't help that you lot have to come and try and beat us. We've got... And I said it before, the fact that at the weekends we managed to rest De Bruyne, Rodri, Stones, Diaz. It's
crazy. You know what? I'm just because we're wrapping up and we're short on time, Nobbins, I know you got to leave soon, so we're just going to wrap up. Souls, what's your prediction?
Oh, I've got 2. If Jesus plays, I think they beat us. If Trossard plays, I think we beat them 2-1.
Wow, that's harsh on Jesus. It's not. I don't think it's just down to one player, but of course, you probably have your reasons. Do you want to explain why?
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you. If you look at even last season, where maybe we didn't have the quality we now have, the biggest thing that kind of differentiated Man City to Arsenal was we didn't take our chances last season. Hence, why they were able to turn us over. Even at 1-0, we still had like 4, 5, 6, 7 chances in that game to put it to bed. And we simply didn't. We can talk about the referee ruining the game, etc., but reality is we take our chances. We could have been 3-0 up. I know football's about hindsight and like taking your chances. And for me, when those chances do drop, I just think Trossard will take more of them. And probably in it, I'm not going to compare him to Haaland because Haaland's like a pure killer. But Trossard's one of those players who I believe any Premier League defence is looking at it going, fuck's sakes, he's done us over.
He's good against
us. He's done it against City. He's done it at Anfield. He scored a hat-trick. He's one of those players that steps onto the pitch and defenders are like, we have to keep an eye on him. And he's going to have...
very good first half in the Cup against us, actually, as well. Admittedly, it was against Rico Lewis, but it was good. He was good.
I'm just going to see this. A lot of people in the comment section saying City win, City win, City win, City win, City win, City win.
Flipping not even win, they batter us.
One Arsenal win, and they're not just small wins, they're big margins. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be extremely high scoring. For Arsenal to win, we'd have to win 3-2. I don't think we're going to score. I don't think we're going to keep you guys to 1 goal. And at the same time, your defense is not going to shut us out. I don't think it's going to be a smoking like 3-0, 5-0 like some people are predicting. But I get why some people would maybe predict that. But I'm going to end it off by saying this, guys. I don't wish you guys best of luck, but honestly,
no, you shouldn't.
I don't wish you guys best of luck.
We don't need it, by the way.
But of course, do you guys think if you do beat us, you go on and do the treble? Or do you think that's a different conversation for another
different
day?
Conversation, man? We got to face Real Madrid. They're not Arsenal, bro.
Nobbins?
Oh, what are you trying to say, lad? They're getting beat.
The Real Madrid are a lot better than Arsenal.
No, Girona, Girona's beating them right now. Have you seen the scoreline?
Bro, that's fine. Bro, respectfully, last season in the Champions League, PSG were better than them home and away, right? Chelsea were better than them home and away.
Arsenal will score. You guys, whatever happens, both teams will score. It's going to be high scoring.
It always happens. I don't think anyone's really kept a clean sheet like consistently. So
yeah, but Nobbins, you want to say something before we go?
Just saying.
I know you got a stream.
Wait, do you ask me about the treble? We should win it, and we'll win it. Why not?
There you go. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Make sure you do check out Daps on Never a Foul. The link's in the description. Make sure you do check out Nobbins. You got a show coming up right now on his channel. The link is in the description. And I'm out of here, people. Hopefully I'll catch you guys tomorrow after the title decider. And hopefully I'm happy. You know what I mean? It's not a sad one. But I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out, guys. Out of here. Love.